Alright guys, so welcome back. I've got my cup of coffee and we're ready to go. So on the screen over here I've just opened a simple gems pack. Go ahead and you can go ahead and download this one. So it's a free pack on the asset store and that's the one that we will be using. Now this isn't the one that I used before, so I don't actually know. I haven't personally used it, but it looks pretty good, right? So these will be our gems and you can use whichever one you want. So go ahead and just download that asset pack, alright? Okay, so in the last video we were looking at our the obstacles, and in this video I really want to quickly set up our pickups. So let me just see which one I like here. Let me see. Okay, so let's see. Let's have a look at what the cuboid looks like. I haven't really seen it, so no, don't like this one at all. Diamond 5-sided, let's see. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, I guess I like this one. I like the 5-sided diamond, I guess, right? It doesn't look so bad. Okay, one thing I'm going to do is I want to quickly check the materials and see if I can maybe find something a little bit better. So let's try and throw some green on there. Or let's try some blue. No, I don't like the blue. Let's see, yellow. Probably not. Actually, I don't mind the yellow. So yeah, the yellow looks nice. So we're going to stick with this, okay? Now what we're going to be doing really quickly is we're going to be doing the same thing with our pickups, okay? We already coded the logic for our pickups as before. So we'll be doing the same thing pretty much. The only thing, if you remember from our last pickup, is that we had a box collider on it, and our box collider was triggered. So at the moment, if you remember, I don't know if you still have this, but this was the previous pickup, okay, if I just enable it. So what I can do is I can take my 5-sided diamond, and I can parent it, not under my taxi, let's not do that. So I can parent it into my pickup, okay? So now if I remove the pickup, the 5-sided diamond goes with it, and I can reset the position if I go here like so, so that it completely takes over. Now as you can see, it's a little bit big, so we can scale it down. Yeah, so let's scale it down like so, and let's see. So let's remove the box collider from here, okay? And also let's uncheck the mesh because we don't want that, right? And as you can see, our diamond is rotated, so we can pretty much, let's see, we can rotate it again. So let's give it a rotation of 90, so to speak, or, okay, that's maybe minus 90. Let's try that. Okay, so this looks all right. And what we can now do is we can give it a new box collider. So let's give it a box collider, and we will make it trigger. Okay, so I think this looks just fine, right? So let's just do one thing really quickly. Let's drag our pickup into our prefabs folder. So where is our prefabs folder? Not this one. Here it is. And in fact, let's just hit apply, okay? I think I should be able to do that. In fact, I can't. So let's not do that. And let's just drag and drop it in here. And I'm going to remove the old one, okay? So let's just delete that like so. Now I can remove the one in the scene, and I can simply drag and drop a new pickup like so. And things seem to be fine. Now what I want to do is, before I start going into the details of setting up the patterns as before, I just want to quickly check if our pattern pickup logic is still working. So I'm just going to hit play and see if everything is in order. Okay, so we obviously see some issues. I have no idea why this is happening. In fact, I do have a quick idea why this is happening, but let's just see if things are working fine. Things are not working fine. So let's go in our pickup here, and first of all, there is an animation script on it, so let's disable it. This came with the asset pack. So when I hit play now, let's see if things are working. I have a feeling they are still not going to be working, but let's see. Okay, so it's still passing through and it's not working. So first of all, one of the reasons why it's not working is because it's called pickup 1. So I'm gonna backspace here like so, and I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to hit play again and see. The reason why it's probably not working previously was, let's just check. Yeah, so it's working now. The reason was because when we saved our pickup, there was already an existing pickup prefab, and it saved it as pickup 1, okay? So now I can hit apply, and okay, so it's not updating the name. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this from here, and I'm going to drag and drop the pickup again, okay? So now I have one called pickup. So if I were to, just for the sake of demonstration, if I were to, just a second. Okay, I'm just going to copy it like so and move it down like so. If you're wondering how I'm doing the snapping movement, then it's because I'm holding down control, and then it snaps one unit at a time. So if I hit play now, and if I speed up my taxi, then we're going to get a pretty good effect, right? This is kind of what we're hoping for, except maybe not that. And again, this is happening because the pickups are named differently. Now, one of the ways that we can get rid of this, by the way, is let's just do that because it's getting irritating. So let's do one thing. Let me just check if the box collider is fine. Let's give it a new tag. Okay, let's call. So you come over here. We go on untagged, and let's add a new tag. You hit the plus sign here, and let's call it pickup. Okay. And once I have added the tag, I can now go and add it over here like so. Now I can hit apply, and this will apply all the changes back to the prefab. Now when I go back in my crazy cabby script for the player movement where we were checking the collisions, so over here, instead of doing it by other.gameObject.name, what I'm going to do is let's do it by tags. So if other.gameObject.tag is equal to pickup. Okay, so first of all, let me just check if this is working, and then I will try and explain what's going on here. Okay, so all I did over here was, now if I duplicate it, even with different names, it's not really going to matter. So if I go here, if I move this one here, and if I move this one here, notice they all have the tag pickup right now. So they have different names, but they all have the same tag. So if I hit play now, then it should work for each and every single one. Yeah, so all I did was I went in our car movement script, and over here in the on trigger enter, all I did was I changed this little situation here from other.gameObject.name. So when we collide with a trigger, we don't want to check it by name, but instead we just want to check it by a tag. Okay, so that's what we were doing over here. Now, once again, ignore all the commented out code. This is the only one that's important right now, and we'll get back to that later. Okay. So I'm going to switch back to our road manager script. Okay. Before I go further, one thing I want to do is, as you can see that at the moment, our game objects, our gems or pickups, whatever, they look a bit bland. So I want them to start rotating or moving around the spot. So we have a new script called rotate around, I believe. So let's go in our script and create a new script and name it rotate around. Okay, and we'll fairly quickly look at that script. It's a very simple script, and all it does is it gives these gems and these pickups some rotation speed, and so they look a little bit more like pickups. So I'm going to switch over here in my rotate around script. Okay, so we have a public transform target. So as you can see from my documentation, it says this is the object to rotate around. Now in this case, the object to rotate around is going to be the pickup itself. Okay, so over here in the public, when I attach the script onto my pickup, I will simply drag and drop the pickup itself. Okay, I don't need to make this a public variable. I have just done it like so, but I could very easily come here and I could have just done, in fact, let's just quickly make it private. In fact, that's so much better. And I can simply do, in my start, I can do target equals this dot game object, or rather just game object. Okay, so I can do this game object. Oh, okay, so it's a transform. So let's make it game object dot transform. So what this does is that it pretty much sets the target as the transform. of the game object onto which the script is attached. Okay, so let me just tell you what I mean by that. I'll go to my pickup here, this first one, and I will drag my rotate around script onto this pickup. So it comes around over here, okay? And if I hit apply now, then it will make the changes to all of the other ones as well, as you can see. And what it's saying is over here, it's basically setting the transform target to the transform, not like so. Sorry about that. So it's pretty much setting the target to the pickup itself. Okay, so it's accessing this transform for this pickup. Okay, so that's one thing that we need. We need the object to rotate around, in which case it's the object itself, the gem itself, the pickup itself. And we need a rotation speed. Now, what I'm doing over here in my start is I'm randomly generating a speed between 30 and 100. Now, you can just have a random number here, but the reason you can just put like a static number and not randomly generated. But I want to have all the gems moving at different speeds so that they look a little bit different. It looks a bit bland if they're all rotating at the same speed. So this is what this line does. It pretty much generates a random number between 30 and 100 and gives that number as the speed with which it's going to rotate. Okay, so once this is done, once we have everything in our start, we can look at how to actually rotate it. So in our update, what we're going to be doing, once again, I have some documentation. We're going to be using a method called transform.rotateAround. Now, as the word says, it works, it deals with rotating the game object. Okay, so I have some documentation here. Rotate around takes 3 arguments. First is the vector to rotate around. So the first thing it takes is the point around which it needs to rotate. So in this case, we have the target. That is the transform position. We have the transform of the game object. We have the transform of the actual pickup that we want to rotate, and we want to say that I want to rotate around this point. Okay, so for example, for this little guy, we want it to be this little right here, the center right here, where we want to rotate around. Okay, so all I'm saying is I'm taking my target, that is this here, dot transform. And I don't need to do dot transform. I can simply do dot position because it's already a transform. So target dot position gives the exact position around which it gives the position of the center of this little pickup. Okay, so this gives the position. Okay, now what I need to give is the second vector is the axis to rotate around. So this one basically gives the direction in which I want to rotate my gem. So in this case, once again, I don't need to do target.transform. I can just do target.right. So I'm giving it a direction around which I want to rotate my pickup. Now feel free to try different things like target.up, target.down, and so on and so forth, or vector3 dot down, up, negative up, etc. So this gives the point around which I want to rotate, the first argument. The second is the direction in which I want to rotate, and of course the third is the degrees to rotate. Okay, so it's the degrees per second. So once again, what I've done is I've multiplied it by the initial speed, which we randomly generated, times time.delta time. Now, I'm not going to explain time.delta time again because we've already looked at it a couple of times. And hopefully by now that you do understand that this is going to be rotating our gem like so. So let's just first look and see if our rotate around script is working as I expect. So if I just hit play, alright, so it seems to be working like we want. And you'll notice that they're all rotating at different speeds. This one is rotating at a slightly faster one. This one is rotating at a little bit slower speed. And our game is looking prettier by the minute. Alright. Okay, so now that we have this set up, I'm going to go ahead and delete these 2 pickups for now. And let's just have a look at our first pickup. Now we need to think about doing some of the same things that we did the last time. We've got the rotate around situation going. That's all we needed, so I'm going to close this script right now. I'm also going to close the car movement script because I don't need that right now. And let's just think about setting up our patterns, okay? So we've got our first tile. Now, once again, I know that if I'm going to be setting up pickups, then the points where I want to set them up is going to be 0, -3, and 3 on the x-axis. So this is 0. If I move it like so, it's 3. And if I put it on -3, it's going to be like so. and I think those will be good places. So first, let's just make a pattern. And in this case, I'm just going to make a line of pickups. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate it and move it a couple of units down, and duplicate it and move it a couple of units down. And now I can select all three of them and duplicate them like so. And let's see. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and enable one of the obstacles just to see that we don't have a pickup and the obstacles like here. We don't want this situation, obviously. So I'm gonna leave all three of them open for now while I'm pretty much testing the position. I'm gonna go ahead and move it down like so. This makes more sense. I also need to make sure that my gems stay within the tile because all of this is gonna go in one tile, right? So I wanna make sure that that doesn't happen. So I can select all 5 of these. I'm going to duplicate them again. I'm going to move them down like so. And I think this looks pretty good. Yes, I do like it. I'm going to add a couple of more, though, I guess, over here. So I'm going to duplicate it. And yeah, I like this. And maybe a couple more over here as well. Okay, let me just make sure. Okay, so this last one is going a little bit over, so I'm going to fix that by just moving them all down. Okay, and let me just make sure one more time. Yeah, so I think this looks pretty good. I just want to move it down a little bit, and maybe I'll just get rid of this one and make sure that they are all within the same tile. Okay. So now we've got our pattern, and let's once again, let's create an empty object, and we'll call it pickups. So we'll call it pickups, and I can take all of my pickups and pretty much put them inside here, like so. Now I can go ahead and I can disable my obstacles, and once again, if I just hit play to check everything is working fine, let's just see. Yeah, things seem to be working out just fine. Yeah, okay. All right. So now what I can do is I can duplicate this one, right? And I can duplicate it 2 times. And I can, let's see, what can I do? What can I do? Okay. So what I'm going to do is, okay. Let's move it 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and let's move this one by 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I hope you get what I mean by that. Now, I'm not going to really look too much into the details of these numbers because I probably should have reset the transform before I parented these. So that's why these numbers are a little bit funny. But as you can see, I have moved them by 3 units on either side of what they were. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I think this looks fine. These will be our 3 patterns, and we're going to be enabling and disabling them one at a time. So I can go ahead and open my environment once again. I can select all 3 of these, and I can move them here right below my obstacles, okay? And once again, I can disable all 3 of them, okay? And I can hit apply, and it's going to give all of our environment tiles, pretty much, it's going to update them. So let's see here. Let's just make sure. Okay, so things seems to be fine. I just want to quickly go over here and just change their names. Not that it matters, but I like it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and change them. Oops, not like that. Okay, just going to go ahead and change this. So, and lastly, I'm going to hit apply, and the changes will apply back to our environment. So now what we need to do is we need to, I'm sure you can go ahead and do this on your own. So we need to pretty much go and do the same thing that we did with the obstacles. So in the very beginning, first of all, let's disable any pre-existing obstacles. And what I'm going to do is, in this case, I'm going to add and pickups, okay? Because we also want to have different pickups each time the tile gets repositioned. So instead of having 0 to 4 this time, what we need to do is, let's see. So we need to make sure that all of these get disabled in the very beginning, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can make this 8, okay? By making this for loop between 0 and 8. Basically, it means that when it comes over here, it's going to take the tile that we have to move. It's going to get the child, and it's going to take all the way up to the 7th child. So this is the 0th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we want to disable all of the obstacles and pickups at the very beginning. Okay, so this is all that it's going to do. I hope that this is straightforward. So this takes care of disabling the pickups. Now over here, when we were enabling one of the patterns for the obstacles, let's also enable one of the patterns. So enable pickup patterns, okay? So we can have a new integer. So integer enable pickup pattern. And notice that over here we were saying a random number between 0 and 5. So that would enable one of these, right? So 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, because random.range gives us numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what we need to do is enable one of these 3. So this is the 0th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So we need the 5th, 6th, and the 7th, right? So 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we can have this something like so. We need the 5th. So the first one is included, and the last one is not included, okay? So I hope this makes sense. This here, enable pickup pattern, this variable can take the values 5, 6, and 7. And again, that's exactly what we want. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is the indices of the children. Okay, so this is going to give us an integer between 5, 6, and 7. And lastly, we just need to activate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this line here and I'm going to paste it. And what I'm going to do is next tile to move, it gets the tile, .transform.getChild, and instead of enable obstacle pattern, we need to enable pickup pattern. And then GameObject.setActive.true. So I think everything looks fine. And fingers crossed, if I hit play now, then once our tiles are going to be start repositioning, we should also start seeing our pickups. So let's just see if that works. Let's get some speed, and alright, so I can already see some pickups, and I think this looks good. You can see that the pickups are they are rotating as well. They are perhaps a little too big, so we can probably change the size of the pickups. In fact, why don't we do that? Let's do that. Let's see if there's an easy way of doing it. So in our prefabs, we have the pickup. Let's bring it here. And let's make it a little bit smaller, okay? So 0.75, 0.75, and 0.75. And if I hit apply, I'm not sure if this is going to actually apply the changes to the pickups over here, but let's just see. So they don't seem substantially smaller to me. Okay, so let me just see. Let me just play the game one more time and see what it looks like. And I mean, obviously, okay. So what is going on over here? Okay, so I left the pickups enabled on the first tile, so let's not have that. And actually, it did seem a little bit big, didn't it? So let's also disable the obstacles, and let's go back in our pickups, and let's make them all smaller here. Okay. So I'm going to make them. Let me just enable it. Okay. So I have got all of them enabled, and now I'm going to manually select them. So I'm still in my first environment tile, right? We just need to make the changes in our first one, and then we'll hit apply changes. So 0.75, 0.75, and 0.75. And I think this looks fine. And I'll make the same changes for the rest, okay? So I will just select them, and I will make them 0.75, 0.75, 0.75, and I will also take care of the last one. 0.75, 0.75, and 0.75. So I think they should be fine now. Don't forget to hit apply over here to apply the changes, and let's test our game one more time. So let's give it some speed, and let's see. Alright, so this looks so much better, and yeah, things are coming along quite well, I guess. So in the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, first of all, taking care of this irritating situation where our game ends and we just cannot start it again. So we'll be looking at implementing a restart button, and also we will be looking at taking care of our score. So I think our game is coming along really well, and yeah, if you like it, feel free to hit that like button, and yeah, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Thank you so much.